Well, this last video explains what it is you have to be able to do. Here is an equation of an ellipse. First of all, recognize that it is an ellipse. I can tell that because it's got a plus sign here. It's equal to 1, and the two numbers down below here are different. This tells me the square of how many I go right and left from the center. This tells me the square of how many I go up and down from the center. These numbers are different, so I have an ellipse. If these numbers were the same, I would have a circle. Right, so know that this is a form of an ellipse, and it's in graph-ready form. I mean, this could be all multiplied out, and you probably wouldn't recognize it, although there are ways to do that. If the course were longer, and if I were in the classroom with you, I might actually show you that and teach you that, but we don't have time to do that now. Anyway, this is the form of an ellipse equal to 1 with two different numbers down here and this plus sign. When we get to studying the hyperbola, this will be a minus sign, but for now it's a plus sign because it's tied together into an ellipse. All right, so how do I graph it? Well, I go to the center first. X minus a negative 6. That's why I go to the left 6. Some of the videos you've seen, they've just shortened it to go opposite the sign. That's true. X minus a negative 6 makes it a plus 6. So when I go for my center, I'm going to a negative 6 for X. Now this is Y minus K. So K itself is an 8. Y minus what follows the minus sign is an 8. So my center is at negative 6, comma 8. So that's what I locate first. Negative 6, comma 8. I go 6 on the X and 8 on the Y. Okay, then I'm going to the right and left, the square of 13, because this is the right-left squared. Underneath of the X is how far I'm going right and left. So 169, the square root of that is 13. So from my center, I go 13 to that end of that vertex, or that vertex is the end of that axis, and I go 13 from negative 6 this way. Now the blue things are the foci. Again, if the course were longer and I was in the classroom, I would be showing you mathematically how to find where the foci are. We're skipping that for now, but it is interesting to know what the foci can do in the world of physics. All right, so when I go up and down, underneath the Y, I'm going up and down. This is the square of 5, so I'm going up and down 5. So from the center, I go up 5 and I go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I carefully, as best as I can, connect the dots into an oval. Right, and do that as best as I can. They're certainly not lines. It's an oval shape, so you don't want to make it into lines. You want to make curves. All right, along with that, you have to be able to list the center, the vertices, and the ends of the minor axis or the minor vertices. All right, so starting at the center with negative 6, I'm going to have a vertex. This is my X value, right? Plus and minus 13. So I take negative 6 minus 13, stays with the 8 because that's not going to change when I'm going right and left. And then I also have the negative 6 plus 13 with the 8. That gives me the actual points, negative 19, comma 8, and 7, comma 8. Okay, then I go for the minor vertices. In this case, it's up and down. So now the X isn't going to change. It's going to stay at negative 6. But the 8, right, I'm adding and subtracting 5. So I have negative 6 with 8 plus 5, and negative 6 with 8 minus 5. Or my two ends of the minor vertices are negative 6, 13, and negative 6, comma 3. Okay, and that's one of the things you have to be able to do. Now, what about the other way around? Suppose I gave you this picture, and I asked you to write the equation of this ellipse. Well, you'd use the same reasoning. You'd go to your form, which is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared, X squared is over the right left square, and y minus k is over the up and down square, and it's got to equal 1. So then you fill in your h and k. This says x minus h. Well, I look at where h is. This is x minus a negative 6. So x minus a negative 6 becomes x plus 6 squared. How far right and left am I going? Well, count it. I'm going 13 right, 13 left. So down here will be 13 squared. Plus, do the same thing with the y's. Y minus k. Well, k is 8. So it's y minus 8 squared. And that's over, count it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up and 5 down. So that's over 5 squared, and it's equal to 1. So clean it up, change that 13 squared and 5 squared, and you come up with x plus 6 quantity squared over 169 plus y minus 8 squared over 25 equals 1.